The Gardener by William A. White. Cover illustrated by Luke James Bennett. To everyone I've ever known and loved, and to all those who have known and loved me, my gift to you is my mind, untamed and unedited. Prologue. I wake to the taste of blood in my mouth. It does not disgust me. Last night was the beginning, the start of the new me. Whether or not this transformation is for the best or worst remains to be seen. Only a series of tomorrows will determine this. I roll onto my side and look towards the floor. A foreign wallet glares back at me, covered in blood. I am not sure what is worse, the deed I have performed or the guilt I am failing to acknowledge. Chapter 1. A Beginning. I slyly look over to my sultry calendar to reconfirm what I have looked forward to all week. It's Friday, and Paige Turner is still there smiling, semi-naked, and by the beach waiting for me. The clock on my computer glares at me, reminding me I only have 30 minutes left of work, only 30 more minutes of painfully looking at this monitor. I have reached the stage where I cannot bring myself to do any actual work. The more I try to concentrate, the more I think, the less time I spend doing. The 18 disposable cups on my stained worktop, reinforced by the immense pressure on my bladder that has been building for the last hour, remind me that I should go and relieve myself. I cautiously rise from my desk, my shirt ruffled and hanging out of my trousers, and look towards Mr. Wright's oversized office. The door is closed, as are the blinds. Taking this opportunity, I proceed to the toilets, glancing over my shoulder every few steps. Just as I reach the toilet door, I hear my name called across the usually silent office. "Are we still on for tonight?" Brad whisper shouts at me from behind his desk opposite mine. "Definitely, mate." I pause, realising how loud my response was, then lower my voice with a follow-up. "Mission? About 7:30? I see Brad's thumb rise to affirm my question. I quickly dive into the toilets to avoid further contact with anyone. It is highly tranquil in this lonely place. I only need a piss, but I will sit anyway, and even though I've been sat all day, it's strangely comforting. They really should change the decor in these toilets. They are too nice. I often stay longer than I should. They are painted a warm red with good but not over bright lighting, and it always smells pleasant rather than smelling of stale urine like the rest of male toilets. I drop my trousers and sit, elbows on knees and face in my hands. I find it odd how relaxing sitting on porcelain thrones can be, bearing in mind the atrocities which I normally perform while there. I guess it is one of the only places where I can be truly stress-free, no worries while I am releasing and idling. I find that it is generally a good place to reflect, as I have undisturbed time to do so. Even while bathing, I have to concentrate on cleaning. The door opens and closes and disturbs my pointless thought process. It's like a Mexican standoff. There is no noise, no nothing, not even nervous whistling in between slow plodding footsteps. It is as though I am ashamed of what I am doing, embarrassed to be heard. What do I really think? That they will run back to the office and announce that I am having a dump? I know it is pathetic, and yet I have to wait for him to finish, zip up, wash up and dry his hands before I leave my now inconvenient position. I snigger at the recollection of being stuck in a cubicle for half an hour, simply because there was a constant flow of people. I had no way of leaving unnoticed, so I had to wait until the coast was completely clear before making my exit. I know how stupid that sounds. I hear the door open and close once more, and take the opportunity to flush and vacate. I open the cubicle door, only to see Mr. Wright drying his hands with a greyish paper towel, looking indirectly at me through the mirror. "I thought it was you." I have been caught by the boss. "I cannot make it in tomorrow, and need you to cover for me. There shouldn't be too much to do. Just answer a few calls and type up a couple of reports. But I know what that really means. He will call me and instruct me of more tasks which he just remembered. I'm sorry, I have plans for tomorrow." "I do not have any plans. I just cannot be bothered. Simply too lazy for the hassle. I just want to sleep." "Oh, right. What are you up to?" he asks. "I am planning to do nothing. Good luck finding someone." Unfortunately, this is only how I respond in my head. My mouth has other ideas. I cannot bring myself to tell him how I really feel, the beloved truth. I suppose I can come in, but not for long. "Sure, be in for 9. He leaves without thanking me, but receives the finger from me as he departs. Why me? I'll tell you why. It's because everyone else out there has the balls to say no, or to make something up. I'm being punished for having a lack of creativity and being spineless too. He didn't even ask me to work. He said he needs me to. I take a breath, find the silver lining. I guess it won't be so bad. It's extra money and I only sleep all day anyway. I wash my hands, then look at my watch and discover it has just gone 6. I must have dozed off sat on the toilet, or daydreamed for a lot longer than I thought. I attempt to dry my hands using the hand dryer, but as always it doesn't quite do the job, so I dry them on my trousers and head back to my desk to shut down and then vacate. The office is empty, leaving me with nothing but bewilderment as to how Mr. Wright has left so speedily. I get back to my workstation, shut down my computer, grab my worn leather jacket and proceed to the lobby. The lift is on the ground floor, nowhere near the 13th where I currently stand, frustration building at this minor insignificance. I press both the up and down buttons in an attempt to speed up the process and have nothing else to do but bide my time. It is strange how a few precious seconds can seem to last hours in the most peculiar of circumstances, this being one of them. It feels like the sun could have set and risen in the time I spend stewing, yet the lift is only on the 4th floor. At least I am not waiting for a bus, not knowing if it will actually arrive. The doors ping and open. David is working the evening lifts today. "Good evening," he says with a warm grin. "Ground floor?" "Thanks," I respond. The rumour mill suggests David has worked here for 30 plus years and more recently had a nervous breakdown, so they created him a low-stress job to see out his remaining years before retirement. It is unbearably uncomfortable. Another hour-long minute ensues. David taps his left foot to the awful music that I have heard 1,000 times and that he has heard 1,000 more. And although rather mystifying, he doesn't know the lyrics, but tries to sing along. Well, mumbles along anyway. Finally, the lift stops moving, and the doors part, but it is only on the 9th floor. A lady stands there before me, someone I have not seen before. She smiles and walks in, nervously looking towards the floor selections. Noticing the ground floor button is pressed, I can only imagine this. She simply stands next to me, looks down at her shoes, and sighs. "Looks like we're all going down together." You can feel the awkwardness in the lift. Why did I just say that? Of all the things I could have said, and I chose that. She smirks. David presses the selection again, and the lift continues downward while David begins to sway. This moment takes much longer than the last. I look straight ahead, seeing her in the reflection. My eyes fix on her shoes, heels, and work up slowly past the tights, knee-length skirt, smart belt buckle. Slightly creased white blouse, not done up all the way, showing little cleavage. A necklace with a crucifix, cute lips and beautiful green eyes, looking straight at me. I smile nervously and look away towards David's rear. While this view pleases me much less, I dare not turn back to her. I close my eyes. It helps me to think. What would I lose by looking back at her, asking her name, offering to take her out for a drink? Nothing. I tell myself to stop being so scared and do something proactive with my life. I don't like it when I talk to myself like that. My concentration, so to speak, is rudely interrupted by the elevator stopping. My silent lift partner is already stood ahead of me. The doors open and she swiftly leaves. Something inside me switches on. It is time to change, time to be brave. "Do you fancy going for a drink?" I say, but she doesn't turn around. More awkwardness, and now disappointment. I let a little distance get between us before I set off, on my way out of the door. She walks to her car and takes her headphones out before getting in the car. Maybe she didn't hear me, I convince myself. I begin my walk home, the long walk home. Acknowledging this fact sparks off cyclical thought processes. Anxiety kicks in. Every day I walk the same route home, the quickest route, witnessing and feeling intimidation. Shady kids hang out on the street corners, giving me and every passerby some form of verbal abuse. Older youths drive by in their cars and look at me menacingly, just waiting for me to react, but I never engage. I continue to stare towards the footpath ahead of me. Nothing of any consequence has ever happened to me to make me feel as threatened as I do, but I know bad things happen. Muggings, beatings and stabbings, to name a few. They normally take place late at night, but I worry I could be the victim that breaks the mould. Just keep your head down and walk with purpose. I must be about 10 minutes from home when it starts to rain. I cheer up a little inside, and I'm sure it shows on the outside too. I love it when it rains. Most hate it, but I feel safer in it. People stay inside when it is wet or raining, but not I. During downpour I see no gangs, and if cars drive by, they cannot see out and I cannot see in. Don't look intimidated. Don't look intimidating. Look indifferent, a friend once told me. It works for him, but then again he is 6'5", 21 stone, and looks like he could wrestle a bear. I'm very close to home, but the journey is not yet over. I turn a corner, encountering 3 youths loitering on the street corner, cowering in their hoods from the rain. My confidence is shattered as they all look at me in unison. I dip my head in acknowledgement, say, "All right," in a complete display of shattered nerves, and walk through them. My heart races as fear grows within, waiting for something to happen, for one of them to say something, or do something, or, "Oi, mate!" My brain screams, "Run," but my legs are not listening. Slowly, carefully, hesitantly, I turn to face them. "Got the time?" one of them says to me, although I know it is not the time he wants. It is a ruse. I know this routine. Although I think the worst, he could genuinely want to know the time, I try to convince myself. I always like to announce that I never judge a book by its cover, so it's time to practice what I preach. While this young man fills me with fear, perhaps he could enlighten me and restore my faith. I roll up my sleeve shakily and look at my watch. "About 6:30, mate." I turn swiftly, but soon stop moving as a hand slams onto my right shoulder. I close my eyes and sigh as I see him out of the corner of my eye, hovering over my right ear. "Empty your pockets, or I will break your legs." Well, at least he had given me a choice: lose my possessions and pride, or lose my possessions, pride, and the use of a limb or two if he's serious. I don't want to risk it. There are 3 of them. I'm outnumbered and I've never been in a fight, so I've no clue how tough I am. I reach into my pockets for my wallet and phone. As I go to hand them over, I freeze. An idea shoots into my head, a 3rd choice. But it's too risky and not worth the hassle. Logic takes hold of the situation and hands over my belongings. I expect something in return and I receive it. I stand up from the floor, clutching my ribs, as I watch them walk around the corner through my tear-stained eyes. I brush off my clothes, feeling the dampness from the rain soak through them. I try to brush the dirt from my trousers, but my attempt smears it instead. I sigh at the futility of my actions, then catch a glimpse of a metal pole lying on the floor, surrounded by broken glass. The thought that entered my mind not so long ago returns, inspired by my discovery. This time it is more tangible and evidently possible. The risk seems less. If it is to work, I must perform it quickly. I grab the loose pole and sprint around the corner. The youths didn't get far, and with their backs towards me, my confidence grows. I dash towards them without hesitation and strike the biggest of them first. The taller youth in the middle of the gang slips on the pavement as my pole cracks into the back of his skull. His friend on the left turns to face me, but in an instant I swing the pole into his face, hitting his nose. A few splashes of blood spray onto my face. He stumbles into the road and collapses. The 3rd one looks at me. I smile at him, feeling drips of blood and rain slide down my cheeks. "I fucking dare you." He dares not. "Give me back my stuff." I scare myself with the newfound aggression I exude. He raids his friend's pockets. After a few seconds, he cautiously hands me my wallet and phone, then timidly backs off. "Don't be scared. I'm not going to hit you." I don't mean to lie to him. I didn't think I was going to hit him, but I do. The first strike hits his guarding hand, which he quickly moved to cover his face. The 2nd and 3rd frenzied strikes crack into his head, then a 4th to his spine as he turns to fall. I'm not sure how many further strikes there are, or where they struck. I just know he isn't moving. I pause, look around to see if anyone is watching, and see no one. I know I shouldn't stay here any longer. I quickly turn on my heels and head home. As soon as I get a good distance away from the scene, running through numerous shortcut alleys, I notice rainwater running into a nearby drain. It's a tight squeeze, but I force the pole into the drain, slow my pace, and continue on my way. I have no fear on my face anymore, and none in my belly either. The walk seems more tolerable. I feel safer now. Finally, I have found a backbone, and God only knows where it came from. People describe sudden actions or thoughts as it being like a switch that was suddenly turned on, and they aren't far wrong. I didn't have time to think about anything except for attack, for revenge. Was my anger switch flicked on, or was my controlling switch flicked off? I've never hit anyone before, well, not like that, and I never thought I could. I always imagined I wouldn't be able to follow through, or would feel bad, but I feel no remorse. Should this lack of guilt worry me? They deserved it, I tried to convince myself. But did they really? Did they deserve to be punished in such a way? People might say I'm now at their level, that I'm no better than they are. I'm no better? I don't go around mugging people in the street. I took back what was mine. I'm helping people. This is justice. Eye for an eye justice. My brain is rambling. Before I realise where I am, or where I should be, I am home. I jog up a few small stairs into the lobby and walk towards the front desk, greet Ross at reception, then make my way to the lift. Yeah, well, you know, mutters the resident drunk, slumped against the wall opposite the lifts. Ross tells me that he is related to an important tenant here. He swears at nearly everyone if he can muster speech, throws things when he has energy, and intimidates other residents, yet he is still here, so something must be going on. I tell myself to do something about him, confront him, or my landlord, but I don't want to rock the boat, so I'll just do what everyone else does, ignore him and his abuse. One of the lifts still has the out of order sign on it, but I know it's not. I know it's the landlord's way of always being able to use one of the lifts at his convenience. Unbeknownst to him, this is my convenience also. After pressing the button, the doors open instantly. The smell of urine is becoming more potent these days in this unused lift. What possesses people to urinate in lifts? The reason escapes me. It takes all kinds of people to make the world go round, Mum always said, but what purpose do these people serve? Why is their role vital to how the world works? I cannot fathom it, but then perhaps this is why I do not piss in the lifts. The lift pings, but I cannot even remember stepping in or pressing the button to go up. I didn't press it, someone else did. The landlord, clearly surprised to see me, walks in. I suddenly wonder if he'll think I pissed in the lift, but his lack of reaction to the strong odour makes me think he did it. Another way to stop people using it, perhaps. Disgusting. He looks at me suspiciously. I look at him indifferently. We continue our journey in silence. It is at this time I try to recall if we have ever had a conversation, except for when I first moved in, and I really can't. I know he owns the building. He seems to wear the same brown jumper every day, and his last name is Canlaw. It says so in my rent book. Other than that, I know nothing about him. I can feel him watching me. Was I watching him? I promptly leave the lift, walking to my cosy one-bedroom flat. I approach my door, insert the key, unlock and enter. It's a shithole. Strangely enough, it is as I left it this morning. The toilet is my first priority. While walking towards the bathroom, I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and realise why Mr. Canlaw surveyed me so strangely. I have blood smears on my face and some in my hairline. Now relieved from my laboratory visit, I scrub at my face and hairline, the stains slowly vanishing. This action provokes thoughts of the little skirmish. Then I finally stood up for myself. My ill-placed pride forces a smile. The mirror reminds me that I hate my smile. I chuckle, as I always do, at this ever-repetitive realisation. I am wasting time. Time I could be getting drunk, flirting, and going home alone. I had plans to shower and shave, but these plans will have to wait until tomorrow morning. My day off. Well, it was my day off. After opening my shoddily put-together wardrobe, it is apparent there are no clean or iron clothes. Yesterday's black fleece will suffice, as will today's tank top. I slip on my jeans and work shoes and look at my hair. It's a mess. I tie it back into a crew ponytail as I don't have time to do anything else. I look at my phone, noticing that time is passing faster than I thought, and speed dial for a taxi. It rings. 49 taxis. Only slightly audible. The crackle and quiet voice combine to convince me I need to talk louder and ignore any responses. Taxi, straight away, Brook Street Park, southwest entrance, going to the mission. Thanks. I hear a response that sounds like 5 minutes. I say thanks and hang up. I slip my phone into my pocket, grabbing the wallet out of my trousers and check for cash. There is not a lot there, but enough for a few drinks at least. Then I worry about Brad buying the rest. I reach my hand into my back pocket to check if my spare key is still there, and it is. I make a move for the door, still slightly ajar, walk through and slam it behind me. I catch a whiff of something. I can taste it in my mouth. It's thick and warm. I have nothing to improve the taste or smell, and the last thing I want to do is go back to the flat, to brush my teeth. Beer and peanuts will disguise the smell later. Only for a while, naturally, but by that stage I know I just won't care. Just as I arrive at the corner of the corridor, I hear my name called and turn. Was that you slamming around, young man? Yeah, sorry, the wind must have caught it. I have disturbed Tom, my neighbour, and I am genuinely sorry, but can't help but try and joke with him all the same. He is a friendly old guy. It's nice to have neighbours like him. A draft in your flat, eh? He smiles. I mirror his smile, shrug my shoulders, and exit to the stairs. It is a long run down the stairs, and yet I am on the ground floor quickly. I've got no time to waste. I open the bottom doors to some unexpected restriction. The resident drunk has fallen asleep and is blocking the doors. Excuse me, I offer. He mumbles, moans, curses and moves just enough so I can open the door and slip through. I walk through, turn right, and leave the building. Fortunately, there is a distinct lack of traffic, so I dash across the road to the park entrance opposite the tower block. The rain has stopped, but the sky still threatens further downpours. I spot the usual groups inside the park: dealers dealing, customers abusing substances, ridiculously young kids smoking, and couples walking their dogs. It seems people with dogs stay free of trouble, the untouched group of dog walkers. Maybe one day I'll get one. I look right for a while, searching for my taxi, but voices distract my search and drag my head to look left down the road. In the dim street light, I can make out 4 people, 3 of them shouting at the 4th. One pushes the 4th into a bus stop, encouraging the other 2 to kick him to the floor. For a split second I consider getting involved, but it's not my fight, and I have better things to do tonight than get caught up in this mess. Yet I remain watching. The decent person inside me wants to run over there and be at this person's side, but the pessimist in me says he could have deserved it. The optimist in me points out that he could be as innocent as I was earlier. Maybe it's the same group that attacked me and were attacked in return, and yet I doubt it is them. Surely they would be licking their wounds right now. There is a toot. My taxi is here. That was quick. My brain is on fire with alternating thoughts. Get in or help him. Fight or flee.